With ambition to overthrow the Twilight Realm royal family, the man known as Zant is a dangerous foe to reckon with. However, his serious exterior hides a villain who is actually a bit of a goofball. He's clumsy, excessive, and childish. When it comes to Hyrule Warriors, Zant is often cited as one of the game's worst characters, which to me is a shocking assessment. I feel like, much like with Girahim, there is a lot of ignorance of how Zant's mechanics work in-game, and with an understanding of how to use him properly, Zant is able to tear through difficult generals and entire armies with ease. Let's take a closer look at Zant and unpack everything he can do. Zant's standard attack string consists of 7 attacks in total. He will first swing up and to the left, vertically down, do a roundhouse swing with his right blade, followed by a 360-degree swing where he also twists his body together, from which he releases and springs into the air, slamming down 3 times, then attacking forward 4 times before finishing with one more big area release. Analyzing this attack string is where the Zant is terrible narrative starts to fall apart, because this thing is great. An ideal standard attack string should come out fast in the beginning to allow for quick capitalizing on weak point gauges, should include some area attacks in the middle and end to push back any enemies who may have approached during your assault, and ideally, the longer it is, the better, as long as you can cancel out of it when your enemy starts to block you. I also really like how well this string sticks to his character, and I have to admit, I had a little squeal moment when I slowed down the animation and discovered how Zant twists himself into a little spring before he does his jump stops. Anyway, this really isn't the part of his kit which causes confusion or frustration for players. Rather, it's his combos and charge mechanic which tends to do that. So, let's get into it. Because this is such a critical part of how to use Zant, I'm going to explain everything to do with his charging mechanic while looking at his first combo, which in the case of his first combo, simply makes a big Zant mask pop out from under the ground in front of him. However, after the first press of the button, if you keep on mashing it, Zant will continue to attack within his combo, which in this case causes the mask to spin and spit out energy balls in multiple directions. Any lengthening of his attacks will cause Zant's charge meter to start to increase. However, unlike other characters, Zant's mechanic requires just a little bit of presence of mind and careful timing. If you keep on mashing the button once Zant's bar has become full, it will cause him to fail in his attack and get stunned briefly, losing all of the charge that you built in the process. This is quite a shame because Zant can do some amazing things as long as he has some charge, which is why you should practice a bit to get his timing just right. I have found that the perfect time to stop pressing the strong attack button is either right before the charge is at the end, or as soon as it glows red to indicate that it's fully charged. Going just past that for even a single press of the button will cause Zant to stun himself. So don't really worry about it if it's not completely full, because other than missing a minute amount of time from not having it totally full, the effect and the attacks that he can do are the same. With any amount of charge, pressing strong attack will cause Zant to remove his mask and go into a kind of Berserker rage. While in this state, your standard attack button and heavy attack button are replaced with something new. When pressing standard attack, Zant will go into a tornado spin, which can be piloted to the left and right, catching and carrying any enemies in your path along for the entire ride. This includes generals who you catch off guard, who will typically be juggled the entire way, as well as normal enemies too. Alternatively, if you press heavy attack while in this Berserker state, Zant will become stationary and fire energy balls forward, which you can also direct left or right, but it does have a slower turning rate than the tornado spin. Both of these attacks, however, are excellent, although the stationary energy attack is best used when you are truly fighting one-on-one, as you will be very vulnerable during it. However, it should be noted here that once you have started this Berserker state, it cannot be cancelled until the bar is empty. But both of the attacks that he can perform in this state are so great that there is very little reason not to immediately activate it once you have any amount of significant charge. Understanding the way to charge Zant's bar without causing him to stun himself is key when unlocking his full potential in battle. Each of his subsequent combo attacks from here requires the same basic timing of when to stop using the button, which once again is either right before the bar is full or as soon as it lights up. And with this explained, we can now look at everything else that Zant can do. Zant's second combo causes him to pull a pillar up from the ground, standing atop it whilst firing about 45 degrees downward. You are able to aim slightly to the left or right while doing this, but Zant is surprisingly vulnerable while firing. If you end this move correctly, Zant will then rock his pillar on the way off, hitting enemies with it when it falls, but in general, I find this move has limited value and is too slow for regular use. Zant's third combo, on the other hand, is much better. Zant will jump up and slam to the left, to the right for as long as you can charge him, and when ended properly, he finishes with a big energy blast in front of him. From the way that Zant is always moving forward while also bobbing from side to side, he is very safe during this attack, and it's probably the best way to get reliable charge with him, even if it isn't his best area attack. Zant's fourth combo causes him to bring in a giant hand from above. However, this is a grab attack which can only be used if the hand successfully hits something. When it does, Zant will brutally punish the enemy caught with a long series of hits from all angles. However, while using this attack, Zant is incredibly vulnerable, meaning that aside from single combat, this attack really just has limited use. Lastly, Zant's fifth and final combo causes him to grow to enormous size, and use his right foot to smash enemies repeatedly. The incredible size of this attack, along with its quick turning radius, makes this Zant's best room clearer, as well as one of the best keep clearers in the entire game. While most enemies are stunned during this assault, stronger enemies like generals will likely still be able to hit you while you're attacking, which will require you to use this move somewhat carefully, but still, this attack is great. With a lot of very effective attacks under his belt, it's fortunate that Zant's fourth special attack is also pretty good. Zant, along with 2 copies of himself, will drop a massive energy ball onto the ground, doing a good amount of area damage. This will be dropped directly in front of Zant, so all you have to do really is aim carefully. With an understanding of Zant's standard and combo attacks, hopefully it's clearer why I have such an amount of respect for him, and that I disagree so heavily that Zant is anywhere even near bad. Of course, the main contention with Zant is that he has the ability to stun himself if you drag out a combo for too long, but with some simple timing, and I mean that literally, it's incredibly easy to get perfect timing with Zant's combos every time, this isn't really a problem. The main thing to understand is that there is an ebb and flow to using Zant. When approaching an engagement, you should be thinking which one of Zant's elongated combos you could use to do the most damage, whereupon your next action should be to use his Berserker mode to immediately clean up or open up your next fight. Zant is one hell of a character to use, and his interesting mechanics and insanely fun Berserker spin have made him one of my favorite characters to use, period. However, when looking at him objectively, there's no way that I could call him one of the best characters in the game, but also neither can I call him one of the worst. Zant has incredible potential, but even without his self-stun mechanic, some of his attacks have really big drawbacks. For example, extreme vulnerability to chip and major damage. At the end of the day, while I love Zant with a passion, he's just in the middle of the pack.
I'm gonna be just like you!
No, boy, stop! It's too low! Your backbone can't take it!
I'm just like